Welcome to the Mark Pattison Show. My name is Mark. I am here with the lovely Nicole Gilberts, and we're going to talk about real estate starting out, how her career's taken off, and just some tips and tricks for sellers and buyers in today's market. We've all heard the market shift. Things change constantly in real estate, which is fun, keeps you on your toes, but we just want to educate and help out and also just kind of give some tips as to what we think buyers and sellers should do right now, because as always, we think that, real estate is a wonderful vehicle. You just got to do it the right way. So welcome to the Mark Pattison Show. I went from being a solo agent to selling over $1 billion in real estate in just 6 years. I flip houses, I run a portfolio of investment properties, and I help people like you create lifestyles they couldn't even imagine living. I'm going to show you how to make riches through real estate. Welcome to the Mark Pattison Show. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yes. So how long have you been in real estate?
2 years, actually.
Perfect.
Officially.
There you go. Everyone always asks me, what did you do before real estate?
I was in the wine business for 14 years.
Okay.
And I was casually investing while I was in the wine business, knew I was going to get into real estate, and I made the leap in 2020 in July. So
Whoa.
left my comfy, cushy W-2 income job and got into real estate and didn't make money for 6 months.
So in the middle of COVID, you switched jobs. We probably thought that maybe July it was maybe ending, summertime, and then it kept going for 2 more years and still is going.
Yep.
So what's it been like with the transition? So you were in wine sales. What was that like with having that cushy W-2 income to switching to real estate? Was it kind of nerve-wracking?
Yeah, very scary. So I didn't have my license when I switched. So I worked for an investment company and we did fix and flip. So I did that for 6 months. And then once I got my license, I realized I really needed to learn real estate. So I came to you.
That's when we met. I don't know, the best. So Nicole, yes, she is on PorchLight, our team here in San Diego. And yeah, fix and flips, which is cool, is real estate has all the different avenues. So you started out fix and flips, you got your license, you started practicing in just traditional sales. We recently just completed a flip together. Mm-hmm. So what's your passion? And if people that are looking to get into real estate, whether they want to be that agent that's helping buyers and sellers, or if they want to get into investing, what would you say is like a tip or what you found the most fun?
So my passion is to help people build wealth in real estate, just like, I'm trying to do for myself. So again, investing in flips, we're also investing in a development project. So those avenues and just long-term appreciation in your home. So my favorite thing is getting people into their first home and watching it appreciate, and then, getting into their second home, taking that money out and putting that down payment in, and then realizing what can happen with real estate and how it can truly grow your wealth.
For sure. I always say it's like a forced piggy bank because, you have to pay somewhere to live. It may be a little bit more than your rent, but one of the things that I love doing is doing like a rent versus buy comparison. Mm-hmm. So you can see at what point does it break even for a buyer. And it truly, no matter which market it is, buying is always, in my opinion, so much better than renting. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. Right now, since I think that no matter what time it is, it's a great time. What do you think for buyers? What should they be looking for right now? If they're going to go look and buy a house because interest rates have risen, if they're looking to buy a house, what's some things that, because maybe they get to be a little bit pickier right now, there's going to be more inventory on the market. What would you say are some key things that they would want to look for as a buyer?
Well, I think now is actually a great opportunity. Even though interest rates have risen, we can actually get you into properties. As of, 3 months ago, we were competing with 10 other offers on that property. Now, you might even get a seller credit, not even, get your offer accepted, potentially a seller credit. So I think right now is a fantastic time to buy, especially since interest rates dipped a little bit from a couple weeks ago. So we're kind of sitting in a decent position at the moment. So I'm telling everybody to jump while they can right now. For
sure. And just because of what you see on the news and the things that are, hey, it's, news talk, it's doomsday all the time. The world is ending. We hear about all this awful stuff. But in reality, if you look at it, you got to look at what your plan's going to be. Mm-hmm. If your plan is to buy a place and to hold on to it and create that generational wealth, and if you can afford it, it all goes back to affordability. Like, don't overstretch yourself. You still want to take that vacation. You still want to do things. But if you can afford it, freaking do it. Mm-hmm. And you don't need that perfect house for your first house. Get that condo or get that, single family residence that's maybe in a suburb. Mm-hmm. It does build wealth over time.
Yeah. And hold it and rent it out.
Yeah. So that's what I love about people that do 401ks or IRAs or, I think that there's nothing wrong with it. But like you said, you're building your wealth. You're doing a development project. You have rentals. Rents go up with inflation and rents go up over time. So in reality, it's almost foolproof for a retirement plan.
Yeah.
The people that are relying on Social Security because the government said, hey, retirement's for all those baby boomers out there, Social Security is going to run out on us and it's not enough to live on. But if you had a rental, you live in one unit and you rent out the others and you're kind of set.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, you keep that long term, you rent out both, rental prices increase, you get to, take that value and either, bring it into another property or, at the end, maybe you're ready to retire, you sell that property and you live off the gains, the appreciation.
For sure. So I'm young, not me, but I'm telling a story. I'm in my 20s, well, to be 20 again, which I did buy my first house at 20. I don't know how I did that, but worst time ever. I bought it in 2007. Market crashed right after. I didn't know real estate could actually do that.
And then what happened? Did you die?
No. And I kept it and I made $160,000 off it. So even at the worst time of buying. But I think is that I know there's a ton of misconception is like, well, I'm 20 years old or I'm 25 or I'm 35 and my job doesn't pay that much and I don't have 20% down. Do I have to put 20% down when I buy a house?
No.
And why? What would I do if I don't do 20% down?
Well, this is why I think it's a really interesting time to be buying right now is because the lenders are getting creative. Because interest rates have gone up a little bit, there's so many different creative ways to finance. ARM loans are coming back, 0% down FHA loans are coming back. Sure, if you have 20% down, you can absolutely do it that way. You can do as low as 5% down conventional as well. So there's so many different options right now for buyers. And again, lenders are getting creative because they understand, times are changing, so they have to get creative, just like any kind of market change, I guess. So it's nice to see some of those products come back again.
For sure. And like you said before, the interest rates were really low a couple months ago, like 6 months ago, but you weren't getting your offer accepted. So did you really even have that interest rate? No, because you weren't a buyer that had, it's funny is the market got so insanely competitive. The cash buyers came in that weren't even using loans and winning out. And you're like, wait, it's crazy because the interest rates are low, but no one's using loans. Wait, hold on. How's this working out? But it goes back to you do not need 20% down. You do not need 20% down. You do not need 20% down. I put 3.5% down on my first place. It was an FHA loan. And if all of this sounds like a different language to you, people like Nicole and other agents at PorchLight, we're educated on these different aspects. And if we don't know the answer, you can reach out to our in-house lending team and find out, hey, what's the latest programs? We're constantly educating ourselves. We have Financial Fridays to talk about interest rates and loans. And I just closed on an ARM loan. And because I've only been a real estate agent since 2014, 15. Sorry, I don't know how to do math. I'm not a lender. No. But, I've been an agent for quite some time, but I don't know loans that much. I'm not in that business. It's not my job. My job is to educate my clients and to connect them with the right people. And I was kind of scared of having an ARM loan because I heard all the horror stories. But there's a different aspect, like 2008 and what happened. And the idea behind lending was that people were getting loans that should have never even got the loan in the first place. They were giving loans based off of faulty information. And that's what happened is essentially people couldn't pay their payments. They were doing crazy things like, you're locked in an interest rate for 1 year and then it adjusts after the first year and then you can't refi because there's a prepayment penalty for 2 more years. So your interest rate may jump up to 13% or something and then you can't refi. Those, thankfully, I pretty sure no one uses those and they're banned. Our team definitely would not want to educate you on that. But like the ARM loan we have for our house is 2% locked in for 5 years. And then it it readjusts, it's adjustable rate, and it could go up to 4% for the next 5 years.
That's incredible.
So in 10 years, my highest interest rate is going to be 4%. So those are the ARM loans that we're talking about. So that's where you need to look at if you're looking at these rates and like, oh my gosh. Plus there's conventional places like credit unions and local banks. Don't think about the big banks. The big banks are the ones laying off a ton of employees. The credit unions and other ones, like some of the craziest loans I've heard of right now are through these places, and it's great interest rates. So what would you say to a seller? So we talked a little bit about the buy side, and you do, right now you are negotiating. You just got your client 20-something thousand off. How much off the price did you get?
So there was a price reduction of $100,000, and then we got them $25,000 under the $100,000 price reduction.
Oh, perfect. So
against a full price offer. So
you can still be competitive, and there are homes that are still selling. The idea of like what you see on the news is it's, oh my gosh, it's over. The real estate bubble's done. Yes, we're going to slow down, but great homes in great areas with great characteristics and features are always going to sell, especially in places like San Diego where we have so many other businesses that feed our market. So what would you say if there are sellers that were like contemplating selling during the market when it was so crazy and they waited and they think now that the market's dead? Do you think now's still a good time to sell?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're still recapturing some of that equity and appreciation that we've experienced the last 2 years. We've experienced 35% equity in certain markets just last year. So yes, even though the market has slowed a little bit, you're still regaining some of that money, and it's still a wonderful time to sell, and we need more inventory on the market. When you're thinking about selling, I think a couple of things to think about would be to make your house stand out, any kind of decluttering that you could do, painting, fixing any repairs that need to be done around the property, potentially even, adding some windows or anything that you can do to make your property stand out, because it really does matter now.
Are you listening to this podcast and thinking, I want to level up? What the heck is my next move? First off, stop comparing yourself to others. Mark Pattison here, and I've got you covered. You've got to visit my website, markpattisonrealestate.com. On there, you're going to find tons of free content, courses, and a resource community to help you achieve your goals. Success in real estate is not found alone. I'm Mark Pattison. I want you to copy my playbook.
And also, like, with it, individual owners of properties see our properties different than what the common, the public would see it. So it's important having someone like Nicole come into your home, tell you what needs to be changed. If there's an accent walls are great. I mean, this wall's blue. But when you go to sell your place, you need to make it look, bright and white and everything needs to look new flooring. If you've got carpet, I would rip it out if you can. Those types of things are what's going to make your home stand out and get you that offer that you want, because buyers can be picky right now. And buyers still, no matter how popular those HGTV shows and Fix-Its and, whatever, they still want a house that's shrinky. There is that consumer that does not want to go into a home because maybe they're young professional or they just don't want to do the handiwork, and they've heard the horror stories and they just want a house that's done.
Yeah. And the big four too, just to watch out for buyers and sellers. So if sellers could take care of it in advance, it's always foundation, electrical, roof, and plumbing. So if you're going to address anything, those would be the big four. So you're not getting those requests for repairs or any credits.
For sure. And cosmetic stuff, typically they won't ask for it because in California, homes are sold as is. That doesn't mean that that's not up for negotiation. Even though the contract says as is, and say you write an offer as is, the buyer can still come back and ask for something because something major could have come up in those big four. The foundation could be an issue, electrical, plumbing, and you want to make sure that those are taken care of. So maybe even having a pre-inspection if you're a seller. Your home. If you have had issues with stuff, try to get that resolved up front, because you want it. Like, our job as agents is to alleviate any chance for a buyer to back out. Now, buyers can back out for any reason, typically, as long as they have that in their offer, which is almost every standard offer. And especially moving forward, they're gonna have contingencies where they can back out. Advising our sellers that getting everything possibly done, so then there isn't a reason they can back out.
There's no surprises.
Exactly. That's going to be huge. And it's going to be the difference between the homes that sell and the ones that are sitting on the market and turn into expireds, because there will be the houses where the seller, looked at the market a few months ago and the house that sold it down the street for 1.2, they're not going to get that same offer again because that client didn't pay fair market value. They more than likely overpaid during the time that we had. And not saying that buyer was in a bad situation. It's still good.
Yeah, absolutely. The market always ebbs and flows, but it always goes up.
Yeah, I always think look at 20 years. I'm never going to tell you your home's going to go up in value. But if you're going to hold on to that house and turn it into a rental and do what I say, how you're going to build wealth, it will go up. And you're going to be sitting pretty. And trust me, for my friends that rented through college, which I had a full-time job while I was in college, bought my place, and the friends that lived in the dorm or rented in the apartment, even though I bought at the worst time, I still made more money. Yeah. And the write-offs, you get to write off with your interest that you pay on your loan. Not 100% of it, but depending on the price of the house, $750,000 loan or less, you can write off on the interest. You can write off, there's a homestead credit. There's so many opportunities for it when you are owning your home. All the energy ones that you can do, energy efficient windows, turf, etc. So I love real estate, but there's always the right time. So as we finished up a flip. What's on the horizon for you? Goals wise, what would you say for, what you're looking to do for the rest of 2022? And how would you want to finish it out?
Yeah, so I'm halfway to my goal as of now. So it's perfect timing because right now is the end of June. I will need another probably 15 transactions to meet my goal financially and my units sold per goal this year. And then like I said, we're developing a 4-unit project in North Park on our property and over here in Florida Street. So it'll be 6 units total. And again, that is kind of the goal moving forward, is passive income, right? I definitely want to continue in real estate, but I don't want to live or die by every single transaction. So the goal is really to have that passive income, be able to create a lifestyle where I can come and go and do real estate for fun.
And one tip on that of the lifestyle, the more you make, typically the more we spend. It's called lifestyle creep. So is there any tips for making sure you manage your lifestyle because you make more and more money? You know, you were saying you're going to do 15 more transactions. So meaning she's already done 15, she's going to do 15 more, 30 transactions for the year, second year in the business. Not too shabby. Hats off to you on that. But yeah, that's where you end up getting that lifestyle creep because you start making so much. So how are you making sure that you kind of keep that back and, you know, not going out and being an idiot like me and buying a really expensive car that I shouldn't have bought?
Yeah, I know. It's hard. I don't have a lot of debt, so I'm pretty good about money management. The only debt that I have is, you know, my business expenses and my car. For me, it's, you know, I'm lucky enough to have a great partner who also, you know, is in the restaurant business and we are pretty savvy and you know, the goal is to, you know, have our dream home one day and hopefully, you know, have those properties pay for our dream home. But as of right now, you know, we're sitting in a good position. So what I can tell you guys out there is we see it a lot. So anything that you can pay down, especially before you're getting pre-approved, that's going to matter tremendously. High credit score is everything in the lending world. So if you can do that, get ahead of the game before you get pre-approved.
For sure. And I do have, I think, a YouTube video on like tips and tricks to improve credit. I'm not an expert, but, you know, try to not, even if your credit card is like $1,000 limit, try to keep it at $300 max that you ever charge on it. So that 25 or 30% limit, pay it off every month. Mm-hmm. If you can't pay cash for it, honestly, don't buy it. Obviously, there are emergencies, and that's where a lot of people get into debt, which is awful, typically medical. But medical, I don't know if they've enacted it already, but it's not going to count against your credit. So medical bills are not going to impact your credit score, which is amazing because that's where most of the people go bankrupt and issues. And so, yes, so that'll help out a ton. I definitely think that real estate is something where it can change your life. And I love the fact that you're saying you want your passive income to pay for that dream home versus you could just go out and hustle and sell. But then you have to sell. Mm-hmm. But if you have that passive income, you get to sell. Yeah. And it becomes so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because real estate is always a joy. No.
Yeah. It is.
Sometimes it's really tough. There's not enough credit for these real estate agents. They hustle, trust me. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And yes, I think I'm excited to see you finish out 2022.
Thank you. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Hope you learned something.
Thank you for tuning into the Mark Pattison Show today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please download so you can refer back. If you like this content and want to continue receiving real estate education for free, head over to your computer, scroll all the way down to the section after the episodes on the podcast, and select the 5 stars. If you're willing to commit to transforming your business, please visit my website, markpattisonrealestate.com. We've created a community of real estate professionals where we give back and share tips on how to succeed. Visit markpattisonrealestate.com. And remember, if you're not fucking up, then you're not trying.